Welcome to Greek Verse a Day. Today we're translating Revelation 2:26, a little bit longer of a verse than we had yesterday. It's Revelation 2:25. Let's go ahead and start with the slow reading, and then we'll do a little bit faster one after that. We have Kai ha Nikon, Kai ha Teron, Akri telus ta erga mu, doso auto exousion epi ton ethnon. One more time, a little bit faster. Kai ha Nikon, kai ha Teron, akri telus ta erga mu, doso auto exousion epi ton ethnon. So at this point, go ahead and pause working from your Reader's Edition and see what you can make of a translation here before unpausing, and I jump back in and give you some help. All right, so we have this whole first part. We don't actually have, you may have noticed, any verbs in this whole first part. We get our verb, our indicative verb here with doso. This is going to be a future, which is signaled to us by that sigma in there. A future active indicative first person singular from ditto me. So this is one of those me verbs. When we recognize the root of ditto me, do right here in the future, doso. So remember, in the present tense, me verbs, which take their name from their ending here in the first person singular, in the present tense, they're going to reduplicate in the present tense. So that's why we have ditto me, and they reduplicate with a iota rather than an epsilon. So that reduplication is lost, or it's not there for the future tense. Rather, we have that characteristic sigma of the future. So the main verb in the sentence is going to be I will give. And so while we're at it, we should probably, since we've got our main verb, we're going to come back to this, this clause back here. Let's figure out what the object of this verb is. We're going to be looking for something in the accusative case. Remember, the direct object is always in the accusative case. The indirect object is always in the dative case, which we're going to get right here. Auto is going to be an indirect object, something that is given to one person or entity one step removed. That's the indirect object. It's indirect insofar it's not directly affected by the action of the verb. And exousion here is going to be our word in the accusative case that is the direct object. I will give authority auto to him. So the personal pronoun, the indirect object here. And then this prepositional phrase, epi ton ethnon, means over or upon the nations. So I will give to him authority upon the nations. So this is really the core of our sentence right here. I will give authority to him. That's that has the main components, the main verb, the object, and in this case, an indirect object, which we sometimes don't have. An indirect object is not necessary to have a complete sentence, and in fact, an object is not actually necessary either. But you usually have a verb and an object, and then often an indirect object as well. So I will give authority to him over the nations, or I will give authority over the nations to him. And all of this up here is essentially telling us who this auto is. This is going to be, in essence, the antecedent of the personal pronoun auto. So let's go back up here and see what we can figure out what's going on here. We have two different participles. Both of them are going to be present active participles, nominative masculine singular, and we get that nominative masculine singular information from the definite article that directly precedes them. In this case, these are participles that are substantive. They are acting as a noun in the sentence. So we're going to translate them. And the one who is victorious, so this is from nikao, which is a verb, which means to have victory. And then tereo means to keep. Tereo, to keep. As participles, it's going to be the one being victorious and the one keeping. And this is, in essence, one entity here. the same individual, the one who is victorious and also the one who is keeping. And what is being kept? So remember, a participle can take an object. Participle is a verbal adjective, part verb, part adjective. And being part verb, it can take a direct object. And in this case, the direct object in the accusative is interrupted by this prepositional phrase here. Let's mark it in a different color just because we're getting a little bit busy on the screen. So this is a prepositional phrase that's interrupting the participle from its direct object, the one keeping ta erga mu, the works of me, or more simply, my works. And then akri telus, until the end. The only comment we need to make is on this telus right here. Even if you don't know what I'm going to say, or even if I did not say this, you probably could have figured out this is until the end. But I do want to comment on telus here, which is a genitive neuter singular. And the reason I want to comment on this is because it doesn't really look like what you'd expect from a genitive. This us ending, you would probably think that's an accusative masculine or neuter plural. It is not, in fact, an accusative masculine plural, not neuter. This is a sort of an odd form of the third declension. If you were to look up this word in your lexicon or dictionary, you would find that it looks like this. Telos, telus, ta. And remember, with third declension words, you're always given the genitive singular form because the nominative is usually the sort of odd one out. And if you remember our third declension, we have socia in the singular, and then down here we would have esoncias. Socia, esoncias is our mnemonic for the third declension. And what has happened with telus is we have this tel-ah with the omicron sort of as part of the stem itself. And so then when the os of the genitive, oops, sorry, I did this wrong. It should be like this, sacia. So when the os is added of the third declension genitive singular ending here, this omicron contracts with this other omicron, making our u. So we go to us, which we have up here. And remember, akri we actually saw in the verse previous, or maybe it was 2 verses previous, is a preposition that takes the genitive after it. So this is in fact a genitive singular, even though it sort of looks like an accusative plural. So let's put this part back together, and then we'll put the whole thing back together. So we have and the one who is victorious, and the one keeping my commandments until the end. I will give to that one, to him or her, to them, authority over the nations. So again, one more time, putting it all back together. And the one being victorious and the one keeping until the end my works, I will give to that one authority over the nations.